Here we're going to get into this video, the importance of listening skills, listening process, and the responsibilities and barriers of becoming a good listener. So we'll start off by saying that the process of listening is really an active process of receiving, understanding, evaluating, and responding to spoken or sometimes nonverbal messages. Unlike hearing, listening requires attention and interpretation. That's very important. Effective listening requires a conscious effort and a willing mind. Listening skills differ on the basis of their purpose, feedback, and interaction. Listening has the following types: constant listening, critical listening, empathetic listening, pretending listening, selective listening, attentive listening, creative listening, and intuitive listening. Those are the main aspects that you will find that's attached within the 5 stages of the listening process, which firstly, it's receiving, it's hearing the information, paying attention to verbal and nonverbal cues, tone, facial expression, body language. And secondly, it would be understanding the received message. And this involves interpreting the meaning of the message, processing vocabulary, context, and intent, right? And thirdly, for remembering, after you have received and understood, then you need to remember. And this involves storing the information in memory, right? Recalling the key points when needed. Moving on to the 4th, evaluating, judging the message, right? Considering credibility, logic, and emotional appeal. And then the 5th process would be responding. This is now where you're giving a feedback, verbal or non-verbal, asking questions, paraphrasing, nodding, body language type. And those would all 5 encapsulate the listening process, which is very important in communication. So those being the process, now we have the types. And again, types of listening: active listening, and this is when you fully concentrate and respond thoughtfully, right? Then you have empathetic listening. This is understanding feelings and emotion. What is the intent that is being communicated? And we have critical listening. Now this is very important for analyzing and evaluating like information. We have informational listening. This is listening to learn. So you can see where, when you look at the types of listening, it all depends on the context, the environment, right? The information type that is being absorbed. So you'll apply with your mental faculties the assimilating process for gathering this information. But equally, if you do not apply in a systematic form these processes along with the types of listening, then you will find barriers to becoming an effective listener. And some of the barriers, if you don't have the ability to block out the noise, whether it be physical or mental distractions, right? If you have a prejudice or bias against information that is being given, if you lack interest, right? The interruptions that sometimes would be attached to distractions. And we have emotional reaction. If the information triggers something inside of you, then it will create a form of distraction. Now, there's an importance to effective listening, or to listening in general. When you start to hone in on the effective listening, then it improves communication, builds relationship, prevents misunderstandings, and eventually enhances learning and productivity. And that covers listening within the communication process as an element. Thank you for listening.